Okay, I gotta say some more stuff about this. Like, it just won't go out of my head, so I gotta talk some more about it. But another thing that I have noticed is every time I go on TikTok, because when you go on to upload on TikTok, it just it goes it just starts the videos, you know. So TikTok is different. Like, you can go on YouTube and scan stuff, but on TikTok, it's more like Netflix, you know, when you go through Netflix and that, you know, you're going across trying to watch and they just keep starting. That's what TikTok is like. So I keep seeing tons of different videos. That's why I keep posting them. Because when I see these people, they are saying the same stuff as me. It's totally tripping me out. But the way I'm looking at it now, because it's super exciting. Like, I was really getting excited. You know, because a lot of times you just feel like you're out in the desert all alone talking crazy. And so then when you see other people saying the same stuff you're saying, then it feels like, you know, you feel less crazy. And so I start thinking, because I'm seeing people say the same stuff as me on the same days and stuff, I was like, this totally is the energy picking up. The energy is getting more. There's more people awakening. The energy is building up. Like, this wave that I keep seeing it as, this wave, we're way up at the top of the wave. And maybe it's energetic, the water, watch the water, maybe it's energetic, but so much of the metaphors and stuff that, or analogies, I don't know, however it is that they give you information sometimes, it is like that. They give you like tons, I get all sorts of like metaphors and analogies and stuff they give me that I'm just like, oh my God, that's so fascinating. Like, you could just write a book about it. And I think that's what Nostradamus was doing. He was writing in some weird way, and I can't remember what it was, but he was writing all these prophecies, but he was explaining them in some weird way. But they, you know, if you do tap in, they do, like, you know, there's like a language that everybody kind of speaks. And it's kind of like that, I think. So, anyways, I started seeing, like, well, if we're all talking about these same things the same days, I'm hearing people say the same words and stuff. It's really, really trippy. And I think it's, you know, there's so much more of that energy. It's just building and building and building. And it makes me think about that Clairol commercial all the time about, it was, I don't, some people probably would have never seen it, but the people who had seen it would remember, because it would start out with a girl, you know, oh, I use this on my hair. And then I told two friends, and then it would grow. And I told two friends, and it grew. I told two friends, and it just keeps growing really fast, of each person telling two people, and how fast something grows. And that is how energy moves through us, is like that. It is that kind of effect. You know, I mean, you don't have to convince somebody of what you know. It's just your energetic vibration pulls them up. So that's why I think people are waking up to all different things, is because it's this energy. And I do think also it's one of the reasons why there is so much focus on this 3D experience, because as part of the experience is to pull free from it. So I think that's also a part of it, why it is so significant, why it's, you know, such a huge thing, that it is, we're pulling free from it. And I think also, you know, when I was talking earlier about the consciousness, so when they keep showing me this, you know, it's where your consciousness is focused. So a dream is just as real. Lucid dreaming, where you start having control. And we're trying to learn, like, that's what this would be about. Like, when you put your intention somewhere, then you are lucid dreaming in your life. So you are creating how you want it to go. And okay, so if you take some idea, like, I believe, you know, I believe this would be my future. I'm going to be rich and famous, and this is going to be my future. And then, you know, you believed it. And then you started getting messages that started telling you, you know, what to do. Like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And so that you were like walking into what they told you, you know, like, but at any point you could say, no, you know, that's not true. I don't deserve that. So you would take yourself and you would shift off of that timeline, because you would need to go experience the timeline that was where you didn't, where you had to learn your own worth because you couldn't see your worth. So you had to go and learn your worth. So see how you can turn your timelines. You can move yourself into a different timeline by intention, by, not feeling you deserve something or whatever. So where people, I think it is kind of like how, like if you take soul contracts and you take fate and destiny and you take intention and you put it all together, and it is you, and the reality shifting, it is you are on the reality, but if you change your intentions, you shift over to another reality. So you go in for another experience, and that experience can be teaching you how to get back to this experience. But you do these like shifts all the time in your reality so that it can show you, so that you can learn. And then it has, and so I think that is something that people, because all the talk, about manifesting and about having an intention and stuff keeps being regarded as like a way to get a bunch of money. And that isn't what it's about. It's about putting yourself on that timeline where you would have everything you want. So you would put yourself into that timeline. You'd have to think you are worth it. You'd have to believe you deserved it. You'd have to believe you were in sync with the universe. You have all of that stuff is a part of it, and a part of your consciousness and how you are focusing it. And so, and everything is what you're paying attention to. Because the moment you stop paying attention to something, it ceases to exist. It no longer is there. It's only there because you're paying attention to it. So it's only there because you have allowed it in, you've created it, you've focused on it, so it exists. As soon as you stop, that doesn't exist. It's another thing. That doesn't mean like, because I am not focused on my daughters right now, they don't exist. They're not real. That doesn't mean that. That means they are in their experience, having their experiences in their reality. Our realities are not merging right now, but theirs is continuing to exist for what they're experiencing, just as mine is continuing to exist, just as a mine experience. But like I said, you got to think about it as people orbiting in and out of your reality. That micro, macro, everything is shown to us in nature. It's just an expansion. Everything is an expansion of something. And, kind of like expansion of experiences, like, that whole thing with the multifaceted, and another thing I want to make clear too, because I think that sometimes when people think about reincarnation and you say, well, you have to play all the different parts, they think all the different parts like in one family. It isn't like that, where you have to play all the different parts in one family. The family, you would think of it as the whole social group that you are going through the experience with. Then, you wouldn't always be coming in and playing. Well, it would be between who you were coming in to play with. It's between your own soul group. It's how y'all resonate. It's how y'all figure your stuff out. Like maybe you would come in and play the bad guy every time. Like maybe, certain people enjoy certain parts. I'm not sure. But you go into these different realities because it's opportunities to have different experiences, just like Westworld, Future World. You go into it, you project yourself into the reality, so you get to have that experience because you get an expansion of yourself, of how you understand yourself. So then all of these, are coming out of your higher self, your, higher aspect of self, wherever you begin to define yourself as self. Because the connection goes all the way to where we're all connected. And then it goes down, 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 down to where you begin to identify a self outside of the creation, or the creator, or however you want to look at it. All these words bring up different things, just like labels and stuff. It brings up different ideas in your mind. That's why you have to connect to yourself and figure out what makes sense to you. How do you see it? because you'll find yourself using words that you wouldn't have thought you ever used before. And, it's just how things will begin to identify in your own self and your own understanding and inner knowing. So it is, so at whatever point, because your higher self is, communicating with you, you have consciousness around you. It's like you're challenged to, understand the signs and to tune in and to listen. It's like a game. It's just like a game where they're telling you stuff and it's up to you to listen. They give you, like I've said before, they'll tell me something that I need 5 minutes before I need it, or they'll drop it down in front of me. Like the other day I went to the grocery store and I had forgot to put ginger on my thing, and I like to put ginger in my kombucha. So I was like, I'm going to have to run in the store. So I ran in and I was looking for the ginger. I was going back and forth, and all the vegetables are all, it was all nicely packed and everything. And when I was walking by, one just flew out at me. And I was like, to me, I mean, everybody has their own thing, but I understand how my guides work. So when they did that to me, then it was like I said thank you and picked it up and put it in the basket, because I knew they were giving it to me because I would get home and be cooking something and go, oh my God, I wish I had some green onions. So see, they're there to help you all the time, but you got to pick up on the signs, because a lot of people would pick that up and go, some people just run over it. I mean, everybody has their own thing. It depends on where you're, how tapped in you are to what aspect of life you're experiencing. So, it's all about what you're focused on. And so in, as the expansion of consciousness, as, we expand ourselves and learn about intention and put ourselves on the best timeline for ourselves and keep ourselves on that timeline because we believe in ourselves, we love ourselves, we know we're deserving and stuff like that. So that's where I say, like, focus on what you want best for yourself, because that is, but you got to learn to love yourself. And when these things come up, don't look at them as like, life's out to get me, I'm trying to do good, and then they just come in here and fuck me up. No, when you're doing good and they're giving you something, it's like perfect timing for you to, and don't forget, it's you doing it. It's yourself that's doing it. It's all destined out. And when you go into timelines, it's already written. It's already known. You are just the projection. You are the thought, but the thought has already made itself. The thought was created, but you are the visual of the thought, if you get what I'm saying. But, as we develop and we understand about our consciousness and we see like our own connection, but we still, as this aspect, we still have abilities to create and to do things. This is coming down from, like, if you think of descending, like if you think of souls being up in the heavens, so you're a part of, the solar system, you're a part of the creator, the source of energy, you're a part of that. And then the solar system expands, it grows, like an expansion, like a whole bunch of energy builds up, and it's all of the just energy just builds up, like everybody learning and knowing and understanding and loving and all that stuff creates energy. And you have all of these different planetary systems and realities all happening like everywhere, all over this whole solar system. So there's this creation of more energy. So then that energy expands, and then you begin to descend and you go down, you go into, living lives and stuff like that. But you can become like more, I don't know how to explain this. It is like, if you think of your higher self being at a certain level, but it still has limitations, then you think of it projecting itself so it can experience, but then that projection of self to become aware of itself and be able to pick and choose what timeline and what it's doing. So you develop yourself and you master more of the abilities that a consciousness has, if that makes sense. That's how I'm seeing it. So I mean, it makes sense when I see stuff in my head. It totally makes sense. So but I just don't know if I explain it right sometimes. When I go back and listen, I'm always like weirded out. Like, I don't remember saying that stuff. It's really weird. And one other thing too I noticed when I'm doing them is I never stop moving. And I think that's part of it. I think it is something to do with like, because I've seen some, like when I was watching Daniel Scranton and he was talking about channeling and stuff. So, because you're always channeling, if you're tapping in, you're channeling, you're picking up information from other beings that are out around you. So you're channeling. And so he was talking about, like, you get this energy. It's like an energy you get into. And so I was noticing that when I was talking, I was like, that's kind of weird because I keep moving. I don't notice that I'm moving. But then I'm watching, I'm like, oh my God, I just keep moving and moving. So maybe you just start doing that and you just don't realize it. But, there's something to that movement and channeling, picking up on that energy. So I don't know. I've only seen that about it, and I just saw myself doing it. I was like, oh, that's so weird. So, anyways, I think it's kind of sad too, is how much these people are pushing to be against the New Agers, all the people who have any kind of spiritual connection. Go against them. They're trying to take you down a dark path. It really screws people over as they're awakening, and they are not sure what's happening, and then they're directed towards the book, and the book is all to misdirect them. So it's just another way to control them and keep them limited. But they do that all the time. They've always got to talk smack about somebody so that they have control of everybody. So it's just all a bunch of bullshit. But anyways, it is about your consciousness, and it is why it can seem like certain time will last forever, certain time is way too fast, it's not long enough, like all of those things. And how in that movie it was showing, you could go back and capture those moments, because they are moments in time, they're experiences. And you are constantly shifting timelines by your attitude toward yourself, and where you are directing your energy, and what lessons you need to learn if you're directing it that way. So it's kind of like bumper cars of life or something. But intention is important when especially if you're putting yourself in a dark place. You've got to realize that you are, with your negative attitude and how you feel about yourself, that you are creating a lot of the problems that you see as problems. You're creating them for yourself, because you are in that dark kind of timeline, that dark path where you are supposed to be learning to connect to yourself. And I think everything in life is constantly trying to get you to connect spiritually to yourself. That is the challenge in life, is to figure out how to connect to death while you're alive, and to accept it and not fear it, and to actually be able to be in the experience and enjoy it, and stop being misdirected and being used, and drained, your energy being drained, not for your own, what you want to do with your life. It's given away to somebody else. It's all about that kind of stuff, is our expansion, our realizing that we don't want to be that way. We don't want to do that. We want to empower ourselves. We want to love ourselves. We want to direct ourselves on our best path. We want to believe in ourselves. We want to, stop playing games with each other, all that kind of stuff. And, and it's happening. I'm seeing it happen, and people are expanding. And, everybody's just got to get out of that idea that they feel crazy, because the spiritual world is the hidden world that is the truth that they want to keep you from. It's where the aliens are. It's where the ghosts are. It's where the flat earth and globe really exists. It's where everything exists in this multiplex theater of life. And that is what people have to see, you know, that this is multi-dimensional place. Everything is happening all around you. And, you know, they just have you focused and scared of everything. So, you know, you just got to relax. And I think the biggest part of it is to realize that you can't be killed. That's just part of the trick to get you to be scared. Like you could cease to exist, and it's not possible. You will keep existing well beyond this and this time. And oh, and that's another thing too. I had seen on something where it was saying we're going to go into a time where we're living like 1100 years. So that's what I'm saying. We've got, I mean, it seems like this is dragging, like, oh my God, it's taking forever. But the age of Aquarius is going to be so much longer, because we're going to actually, it said something about the med beds, which I've already heard about. The med beds will age you back. And it said that most people are going to be around the age, oh, dang it, the age of 25. So, you know, we're going into a really good time and stuff. We just got to get through this. Do your healing. Focus on you and focus on the world you can't see. Don't fear it. Focus on it. Focus on your connection to it. And, you know, truly you will find yourself. And we do have a great future ahead. And it's going to be a lot longer than this horribleness that we've been going through. So anyways, work on you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.